Now, starting in the late 1960s, Chinese teens from around the globe traveled to Taiwan each summer to participate in a cultural and language immersion program. But what sounds like a strict educational experience turned out to be more of a carefree summer of love. Perfect fodder for a young adult novel. In today's Bloomberg Equality, our ongoing conversation about the bottom line impact of diversity, I sat down with Abigail Hing Wen, who was inspired by her own experience at the program and wrote Loveboat Taipei. I began by asking her why she took a break from her day job in Silicon Valley to write this story.
I wasn't exposed to that much Asian culture. And what I found when I went on the Loveboat trip myself is like, wow, like there's these Asian Americans who are really excited about their culture and all the cool things that I didn't know about, like bubble tea and dragon's beard candy and going dancing, like the glamour shots, like the nightlife. The night markets, like all that was really exciting and fun and something that I wasn't exposed to at all in Ohio.
All right, so let's talk about the Loveboat, because that's the setting for your book. Yes. Where the main character Ever goes on this journey of self-discovery, meets other people like her, gets inspired by other people. This Loveboat program, a lot of people get involved because, as Ever did, her parents signed her up for it. She didn't really know what she was getting into. How did you get involved in the program? Because it's a little bit different.
Right. So maybe I should take a step back and talk about what the Loveboat program is. So it's a real program in Taiwan. Asian American parents have been sending their kids there since the 1960s. And ostensibly it's to learn language and culture, but also to find a spouse. And so that's hence the nickname Loveboat. It's pretty well known in certain circles in the Asian American community, yes. But for some reason it hasn't really been well known outside the community until recently. When there's a documentary, Valerie So is the filmmaker, about the story, and then of course the novel is coming out on January 7th. So for myself, I did not actually know about the program. I was a presidential scholar in high school, and the Taiwanese government who set up the program went through the list of all the scholars. Everyone with a Chinese last name got the trip for free. And I think the idea was to bring like these bright young high school students to Taiwan to learn about, hey, we're a democracy, or we're look at our forces, look at this country, and how beautiful it is. And it's really a bit of a propaganda effort,
yep.
But very effective, because you go and you have an amazing experience, and you really do connect with your roots and learn about your culture and identity, and among as going out and clubbing and having a great time. It's the party of a lifetime.
Let's broaden this out a little bit here and talk about what kinds of shifts you see when it comes to Asian American representation in media, because you wrote this book, as I mentioned, it's your 5th novel, but first to be published.
Right.
And when you publish it, it comes in the wake of Crazy Rich Asians doing very well. There's Fresh Off the Boat on television. So there's a lot more awareness, there's a lot more willingness to fund these kinds of projects.
Right. So things have really changed, and it feels like it's shifting very quickly. Definitely with Crazy Rich Asians, The Farewell that's just come out. There's a lot more hunger, I think, and a recognition that there's a demand for these types of stories. And I think that demand's always been there, but it's only now that we're starting to see it. And I actually attribute some of that to the internet and how connected the world is now. People can find their favorite artists through YouTube. There's a new rap artist from Indonesia that's been discovered, and I think that access, instead of going through the traditional gatekeepers, has kind of opened up that world a bit more. On the other hand, I think that the gatekeepers are also recognizing that demand's there, and that's why things are shifting.
And so when you wanted to market this book, you talked to different publishers, and there was a bit of a bidding war here going on for your book as well.
Yeah, no, it was exciting, and I really enjoyed the process of speaking with different editors and publishers about their vision for the book. I went with HarperCollins because they ended up having the largest vision for not just the book, but my whole career as a writer. So I've been thrilled to work with them. They've really done a fantastic job. Like, for example, this cover, spent a lot of time thinking about what's the best way to make sure they really felt committed to having an Asian American girl on the cover and getting it right. Then there's these lanterns on the back. Like, I think there's just a lot of detail that they've paid attention to make sure that the experience feels immersive and authentic.
So as you go forward with your career with HarperCollins, does that mean that you're going to focus on Asian American focused characters or storylines?
That's a great question. So this book has, I mentioned, a cast of over 30 diverse Asian American characters, and that was really important to me to showcase the diversity within the Asian American community. I have a sequel that's in the works. This is a standalone, but there's some characters that people were really excited to find out what happened to, so I'm writing a story about them.